Danse Adventurers. I'm Todd Lyons, and I thought I would delve into one of my various tickle trunks of RPG stuff here. Anyway, I was watching a video, and for the life of me, I don't remember what it was. I try to watch a few videos a day, but there was a shot of this guy's bookshelf, and I saw that he had a paperback copy of a book series that I didn't know that it came in paperback because I only had the originals. And, yeah, and that is these. I'm still getting used to holding things in front of the camera. Anyway, Encyclopedia Magica. I picked them up at a Salvation Army store over 20 years ago. And like a lot of things, because I was newly married and there would be a child coming soon, it just went inside of one of my boxes and stayed there. And I haven't actually had a good look at it. But I did go run into panic to double check. It's like, I thought these had sort of a faux leather cover to them, and sure enough, that is indeed what these things have. So, and I wasn't even aware that they came in paperback. But I thought, seeing as I have had these for over 20 years and haven't even hardly done anything other than admire them and think, well, someday my life will simplify and there'll be more time to flip through these kind of things. Well, today's the day. We're going to do that. So these came out, I think the first one came out, or maybe three came out in 94 and one came out in 95. Could be the other way around. I don't remember. I think I thumbed through the Wikipedia article some years ago about this. And what I remember was that this is a bit of a dog's breakfast. And, I like to, I tease because I love. TSR, like any other company, sometimes they just look around to see what do we have that we could repackage and resell, and not have to put a lot of upfront work into it, or yeah, a lot of time spent in writing, investing, that kind of stuff. Yeah, what can we just schlep out another time for another audience to whom it'll be a brand new experience, having not seen these things the first time that they were released. And this is one of those products in that it came out in 94, like the first volume, for sure. And it releases all the magic items ever published in every D&D box set, book, magazine, if I recall correctly, for the entire history of the game, going back to 1974. So 1974 to 1994, 20 years worth of magic items in 4 volumes, or I think 3 volumes. I think they put an index or some. We'll get to volume 4. Actually, I may have to do a multi-part video because this is way too much to talk about. But in any case, let's you and I look through this and see what we see. The funny thing about it also is that, if I recall, they really did. They just did a big net in the water, grabbed everything from 20 years, from every version, every edition, didn't take any time really to think about game balance or compatibility between versions, or even so much as looking at the entries very closely to edit them, to clean up the language or fix them, or look for inconsistencies or outright errors. So it's in the same tradition as the first edition AD&D Unearthed Arcana, which itself was another example of this. So they have precedent as far as schlepping things out that have already been published. So, oh, wait, there's an introduction here. I could have saved myself a lot of trying to remember and just have read this. So it says, when Dungeons & Dragons first appeared in 1974, no one was sure how the public would receive it. Nothing could prepare the fledgling tactical studies rules for the stir that D&D created in the hearts and minds of millions of fantasy lovers all over the world. And no mention of the terror and panic that it created in parents, and maybe as a result of media coverage and perceived threat as opposed to any real danger. 20 years later, fantasy role-playing, the advanced Dungeons & Dragons games are better than ever, and there's no end in sight. Anyway, I'll skip down. Besides the magical items from the game products, we have included those from Dragon Magazine up to number 200, Dungeon Magazine issues 1 through 45, all 3 issues of Imagine Magazine, never heard of it, Polyhedron magazines through issue 90, and all 7 issues of the Strategic Review. So this really is, yeah, they cast their net wide to put this out. Anyway, so there we go. I could have saved you some time and trouble and just read that. But in any case, so design notes, monetary conversion, okay. Random power tables for artifacts. So although complete descriptions of the magical powers of many artifacts are given, there are many items that lack detailed explanations. Random tables for determining unlisted powers are presented here. So that's neat. So even if you're, I don't know, even if you're mostly satisfied with something, you could probably come back, roll on this table, and just plug in some more stuff. I don't know. It looks like the sort of thing that, wow, let's put some spells into this thing. Yeah. You could get really excited and end up giving your player an overpowered item, but I suppose that's all part of the fun. One of the fun things about being a dungeon master is figuring out what to do about your mistakes. Things that seemed like a good idea at the time, but then didn't turn out that way. And there's always a way to have negative effects. Not to punish the player, but to maybe just put the brakes on slightly so that there's a cost-benefit analysis, that anytime they pull that thing out, they realize, well, this could solve a lot of problems, but things could also go wrong. Anyway, I want to skip ahead, really. Amulet. Amulet of amiability. This amulet of unassuming appearance emits I've never known how to pronounce that word, Dwemer, of magic, but there is no way to tell the exact effect of the amulet short of trying it on. And once it is on, the wearer is unable to take it off unless a remove cursed, I love cursed items, or dispel magic is cast. Any person wearing the amulet, regardless of race, class, or alignment, becomes incredibly nice, kind, and thoughtful. Oh boy. This would be, well, useless giving it to certain characters, but hilarious giving it to others. While the wearer cannot do anything to hurt him or herself, the victim of this blessing does everything possible to help those around him or her and falls in with their plans and suggestions, freely gives away possessions, bestows spells, tries to be friendly with everyone, even monsters, and helps others with chores. This character is at your service. Okay, I'm delighted. Amulet of Caterpillar Control doesn't sound nearly as fun, which is why I suppose it has 1 sentence worth of description. Amulet of Dramatic Death. One of the few of these, only a few of these prized items exist, each created for a high-level thief who was in the service of 2 powerful spellcasters, a wizard and an illusionist. They combine their skills to create these unique items. There are 6 known to exist, which differ from each other only in one respect. All have the following common properties. The magic of the amulet is the magic of amulet? See? I make mistakes sometimes when I'm reading. That seems to be a missing word there. Yeah. So the magic of the amulet is activated when the wearer suffers one particular attack form, and only that attack form, that would be sufficient to kill or wholly disable the wearer, such as petrification. Damage sustained from the attack is wholly negated, and special attacks are likewise negated. The thief is at once made invisible. Lastly, a powerful programmed illusion is brought into operation so that the wearer of the amulet appears to have been slain or disabled by the attack. The programmed illusion is both complete and dramatic. Hence the name. An amulet protecting against magical fire shows the victim of the fireball attacked as a bird corpse, complete with the smell of roasted flesh. Delicious. Oh my gosh. This could be a really long video. This will be a multi video series. I'm going to have to do 1 book for a video. Hopefully you're enjoying this. Anyway, anything that tickles my fancy, I'm going to stop and look at it. Kalene's Undead Stone. Kalene's magical amulet is a particularly potent version of a typical amulet versus undead, allowing, is it Kayleen? Reminds me of Jolene. I want to sing that to the Dolly Parton. I won't do it. I'm not going to do it. You've probably had a hard day. Why would I torture you that way? To turn undead as if a 12th level priest. This amulet also holds at bay forms of undead that are normally immune to all the effects of turning unless those creatures roll a successful saving throw. Okay, so amulet no seum. I wonder where this is going to go. This device protects the wearer against all divination spells and magical location and detection. The wearer cannot be detected through clairaudience, clairvoyance, ESP, telepathy, crystal balls, or any other scrying devices. No aura is discernible on the wearer, and predictions cannot be made regarding the character unless a powerful being is consulted. No seum. It's a bit on the nose. Don't you think? Ankh. Ankhs. All right. The Ankh of Life. This powerful symbol of divinity was lost millennia ago in the Orkgate Wars. Is that a thing? I'm not that steep into the 2E era. If it's something that exists beyond just this little entry here, and they actually made some sort of adventures on it, I'd be curious to hear more about that. It was the holy symbol of the manifestation of... It's not Ra, is it? I've never seen it spelled that way. Re? It is worn. It is a worn and dirty rod of birchwood without any ornamentation, 1 foot long in the shape of an ankh. Has the following powers: continual light at will, destroy undead, regenerate, restoration, resurrection. Okay. So for something that claims to be the Ankh of Life, it sure has a lot of death in it. Yeah. Well, I don't know. Destroy undead 30-foot radius, 3 times per day. Well, yeah, you can deal out a lot of death with this thing that otherwise does have restoration and resurrection. Okay. Now here's a mention of Ra. Ra's avatar can use his Ankh to instantly destroy any form of undead creature or any being that is not on its home plane. Okay. Maybe that other mention there, R-E, is another spelling mistake, and it should have been R-A. See? How is it that even just by accident, by looking at random entries, I'm finding missed words and misspelled words? Back in the day, it was much more difficult to have an error-free document. You know, we weren't using desktop publishing software. They don't even say desktop publishing anymore. It's just the way things are written electronically using a word processor. But, yeah. Anyway. 2 magical apples. The apple of Bragi. In Scandinavian legend, Bragi, son of Odin, had a magically inexhaustible supply of these apples, which cure weariness, decay of power, ill temper. I'll take a dozen, please. Or failing health. And also the apple of chaos. A 5-inch diameter apple of gold. If thrown, its material form disappears where it lands, but its image remains, a phantasm, affecting all creatures within 40 feet of it. All victims are affected as if by the 5th level wizard spell Chaos, severing confusion as the Druid spell. Normal fighters, not paladins or rangers, illusionists, creatures with intelligence 4 or less, and monsters that do not use magic may each make a saving throw versus spell to avoid the effect. No other creatures gain a saving throw. Cool. For once, being just a generic fighter, yeah, there's an advantage there. Apron of Comfort. Do I want to read that? No. Not when Ereble's huggable bears right there. This huggable, lovable, stuffed magical bear is made of white ermine. It sports an onyx nose and sapphire eyes and is available for $19.95. No, is stuffed with, I'll bear down. During the slumber hours, this small bear radiates a sphere of protection in a radius of 3 yards. So yeah, let's all snuggle up. Let's all sleep together in the big bed. The sphere keeps invading forces from entering the mind of any sleeping person. ESP and mind-affecting spells, including psionics, do not work on any subject sleeping within the bear's domain. The stuffed animal also prevents those in its area of effect from suffering bad dreams. Because of the restful nature of sleep while slumbering near the bear, hit points are restored at twice the normal rate. See? And that actually means something, because in old school, there was none of this have a nap, have a short rest, have a long rest. Yeah, you could get 1 or 2 hit points per day. So to be able to double that, yeah. In addition to all the cool protection, the sphere effects, that's a nice benefit. Anyway, so I'm just picking out things that tickle my fancy. There may be all kinds of things that I'm skipping that you'd rather read. In which case, yeah, I'm sure that this is available for purchase as a PDF. If you can't find the faux leather versions, or the paperback, which I can't believe is a thing. I gotta say, it just feels so much more authentic. I even like the way that as it's gotten older, the ends have sort of curled a little bit. But they really did a lovely job here. Yeah. It just, yeah. Gotta love dead trees. Oh my God. It's not the Salvation Army. I wish I would have done this more often. Yeah. I tried to remember to keep receipts for some of the things that I purchased, just so that I would have them again someday. Anyway, this 4-volume set I purchased for the princely sum of $15. So, wow. This is when I was still living in Indianapolis. Midland Arts and Antiques Market, 907 East Michigan Street, Indianapolis. So my wife would make me go to these places because she has just been a lifelong antique addict. So that was a good day. Something that I actually enjoyed. Armband of Death. Let's look at the Armband of Death. It appears to be an armband of healing. I love the cursed items. But when locked on the arm, the snakes of its insignia animate and bite the wearer. Both hits each round with no attack roll required. Well, yeah, it's on you. Each inflicts 1 point of damage per bite and requires a saving throw versus poison per bite. Failure results in death. After the snakes are animated, the armband cannot unlock until destroyed. So even though it's been 23 years that I've had this in my possession, I'm only now deriving pleasure from my $15 now. Anyway, I'm glad you're still with me. Hopefully you're still with me. I may just surrender and make a really long video, and if people that don't like it just bail out, it's okay. I'm not trying to make a living at this. I am just having fun. I am sharing something with you. Armor. Let's see what kind of cool armor they have. I like the picture. And for people that don't know that, well, that has a name. That has a name. All these parts have names. Most people may just realize, oh, well, the helmet, we know. But, and gauntlet. That's probably a low-hanging fruit that people are aware of. But, yeah. Anything armor. I have to read this. How could I not read this? Anything armor. Can be of any construction from leather to plate. Initially it has a +1, but on command it becomes any sort of normal magical armor. One of the types listed on the tables, and not necessarily of the same construction as the anything armor in its unchanged form. For example, anything armor that appears as leather can change into plate or vice versa. However, each such change is singular. Anything armor never forms into a specific type of armor more than once. So that's some record keeping required for the Dungeon Master, because you know the player is not going to religiously record that stuff. A change into a non-special sort of armor lasts for 1 day. before anything armor reverts to its usual +1 status. A change into armor with special functions such as plate mail of etherealness lasts but 1 hour. After the owner has commanded the anything armor to change 3 different times, it loses all magical properties. This is another thing that I enjoy about magic items. I like things with limited charges that aren't rechargeable. And as a dungeon master, I would probably be much more inclined to be more generous as far as gifting these sorts of things if I knew that they would be treated with that reverence, with respect, as something that's temporary. And I'm going to link to the video that I did about magic items, because yes, it's something I feel very deeply. I love magic, but I don't like the way that it's commoditized. It has more value to the player, and it has more excitement to the game when it's something that is not just, it'll be there forever. It'll work indefinitely. Where's the fun in that? Okay. Armor of continual cleanliness. This armor is believed to be unique. I'll say. It is currently worn by a paladin named Ciriel Lathar Pellinor, son of Curos Pellinor, third lord of Everland, and proud servant of Tyr. Being obsessed with cleanliness, he had a prismal cast a cleaning invocation onto his plate mail +2, adding permanency to it as well. This makes his armor continuously clean. It is never dirty, nor does it rust or show blemishes. So, seems like you will have to kill Curiel if you want to have that plate mail. But isn't it amazing what certain people value? And you know what, Curiel, I get it. After graduating from high school, I worked in a mine for a year. Just to save money to be able to afford to go to university. And I never learned to prize any item in my life so much as nail clippers and nail files and the little cleaner to get underneath there. Because, good Lord, I came home filthy every day after that experience working. So, I don't know, armor of cleanliness, maybe that's a bit much. Actually, if I was on a horse and going city to city, town to town, whatever, fighting, I think that just the dust from horses' hooves would eventually drive me a little loony. So, yeah. Maybe this isn't strange at all. I'm with you, Curiel. Okay. I have to stop and look at this because it has a sequel. The Armor of Etherealness and the Armor of Etherealness 2. Electric Boogaloo. This seemingly normal armor +5. This is, okay, I dropped the word there. It was my fault. But if a command word is spoken, the suit enables its wearer and all non-living items, either worn or carried, to become ethereal. There are 20 charges placed upon this armor. Once used, it cannot be recharged. Good. Okay, so at closer inspection, the original one is from the Greyhawk supplement, and the second one is from the Dungeon Master's Guide. So they realized that, oh, there's a duplicate here, so we'll just make one the original, and we'll make one Etherealness 2. Okay. Oh, and the same with this. We have one of Fear, and then Fear Part 2. Which again, yeah, that sounds like, if it's not a movie, it's a song by Rush. It's part of the Fear series. If you're a Rush fan, leave a comment. I am a Rush fan. Armor of Quirk. No gold piece value. No XP value. The AD&D game has one of the largest compilations of magic items in fantasy gaming. The following tables have been created, to add some spice and variety to existing magical items so they've put a table in the middle of the armor section? That's strange. So it's not that the things have no gold piece value and no experience point value. It's that it's another random table. Okay, well, let's skip down. 1 to 6. Armor is incredibly shiny and reflects light of any kind. Any creature using a gaze attack within 10 feet has a 75% chance of seeing its own reflection. Okay. All right. So for Medusa, yeah. Okay. I would like to have the shiny armor, please. We'll just jump around here. 71 to 74. Armor cannot be scratched, stained, or dented. Kind of sounds like the cleanliness thing from earlier. 49 to 53. Armor has an Achilles heel. Every time the wearer is hit, there is a 5% chance that the heel is hit and double damage is done to the wearer. And that's the sort of thing that you would keep to yourself and not tell the player where the spot is. Or maybe the percentage itself just, that makes the choice as to where the spot is. I suppose after the fact, you could decide to, as part of your description of that encounter, like where that was in physical space. Armor of Rage from the DM Guide First Edition. This armor is identical in appearance to Armor of Command and functions as a suit of armor +1. When worn, the armor causes the character to suffer a -3 penalty to all encounter checks. All friendly troops within 360 feet have their morale lowered by -2. The effect is not noticeable to the wearer or to those affected, as in characters do not immediately notice that the armor is the cause of their problems. Okay. So, this is before Rage became, I guess, a mechanic, for barbarians. Yeah, the original barbarian is different from the barbarian that we know from today. Red armor of the Hell Furnaces. This blood-red armor was cut from the backplates of an adult red dragon. Many warriors from the yeomanry died in the battle to kill the creature, and the best dwarven armorers were hired to rework the plates into a wearable suit. Its plate mail +4 allows its wearer to save against fire-based attacks for half or no damage. Red dragons who see this armor make unusual efforts to kill the wearer. Yes. Very nice. Arrows. How about that? Anyone struck by an arrow of Apollo's avatar, must save versus death magic or become instantly ill, suffering a loss of -1d10 points per round, until a cure disease spell is cast upon the victim. Sorry, I'm just looking to see that this ends with a comma. Yeah. Given that I'm just randomly picking out things here and there are many, many errors in here. And maybe the average person wouldn't notice. I'm persnickety that way. Isn't that a great word, persnickety? The Arrow of Darkness. Arrow of Darkness. These are among the most permanent and commonly used of all the enspelled arrows. If a continual darkness spell is cast upon the shaft of an arrow, it can then be used to blind an enemy. These arrows are common among elf scouts who carry them sheathed until there's a use for them. Okay. Arrow of Detonation. So here's one from Polyhedron. I like that they mentioned where the source is. That's a nice value add thing, which they could easily have decided just to not put in the interest of saving space. Although, maybe that's one of the reasons why this is a 4-volume set with one book backwards. And they seem to be really struggling to come up with that 4th one. This is why they put so much filler into it. Anyway, Arrow of Fairy Fire. This arrow covers any human-sized or smaller creature it hits with Fairy Fire as the first level pre-spell. Lasts for 12 rounds. And that's from Dragon Magazine. Okay. Arrow of Holding and Holding 2 from the Ruins of the Inner Mountain. Arrow of Law. This is found as a quiver of 20 arrows. The arrows always hit and kill chaotic creatures at normal long bow ranges. Okay. So it specifically targets its opposite in alignment. Neat. Multiplicity. It's not just a movie with Michael Keaton. It's an arrow from Dragon Edition 135, issue 135. For every 30 feet this arrow travels, another arrow appears in flight alongside the original arrow, up to a total of 10 arrows. Each arrow receives an individual attack roll with no bonus. For example, a fighter fires one of these arrows from a bow +3. The arrow travels at a distance of 65 feet. 3 arrows reach the target, each of them having a normal attack chance, counting none from the magic bow. Okay. All right. So I guess you shoot, you roll a d10. That many arrows go flying, and then you just determine which hits. I would love to have 10, fire one arrow and have 10 potential. Actually, that might be overkill. I guess it depends what you're shooting at. It could be serious overkill, like the first few were enough to slay this thing, and the other 7 were just what, to make a point. Okay, it's December and Christmas in the air, so why wouldn't you look at the arrow of slaying, as in not S-L-A-Y, but S-L-E-I-G-H, slaying. When this powerful item is drawn in a bow in a combat situation, it immediately expands and unfolds into a full-size 4-place toboggan. That is stupid, and I love it. So I think we've moved on past arrows to art. Okay, art. This is so large here, this arrowhead of marking, which I read as marketing, silently in my head there. Okay, it's the weekend. I really need to cast off this stuff. Marketing. So there's an entire section of art. I never thought in terms of art being in a magic book, but there you go. Let's look at that. Norval. Norval? Did your mother love you? Norval. Okay, sorry. This small canvas inside in a wooden frame fits into the palm of one's hand. So, small. To use it, a command word is spoken, and the canvas is held up to a living subject for 10 minutes. At the end of that time, an image of the subject appears on the canvas. So, yeah, it's old school photography. During the life of the subject, the painted figure mimics the portrayed individual, showing age and well-being. At the point when the subject passes from this world, even if just leaving the plane, the canvas is wiped clean and ready to be used again. Okay. So, yeah, a self-portrait. And not just age, but well-being. So, yeah, if it's this time of year, I am very sad. Okay, anyway, we're on axes now. Cursed battle axe. Death Striker. Deathbringer. Deathbringer, would you like to have Death Striker? This double-edged sword, damage 1d10, can discharge a bolt of lightning, either forked or straight, like the wizard spell Lightning Bolt, to cause 66 points of damage with a saving throw. The weapon has an initiative modifier of +2. Okay. Each use consumes 1 charge. Good. The axe has 2d10 plus 10 charges when found. Yeah. Can you imagine every time you swing it, every time you use it, you're just not sure, was that the last? Axe of the Emperors. Frost Reaver. Yeah, so they really did grab stuff from all over the place. I do have a copy of the Book of Artifacts. It's amazing. No wonder it's 4 volumes. Like, if you take a book of items and put that in here, you're basically putting an entire book as part of a multi-volume set of books. No wonder it's so long. Garl Glittergold's Battle Axe. The avatar of Garl carries a mithril steel battle axe +4 fashioned after Arumdina, the weapon used by the god himself. The axe can heal the avatar and only the avatar once per day. So, those of you getting ideas that I'm going to kill a god and take his weapon and it'll work for me, yeah, I have that dream too. Rock Splitter is a +3 dwarven thrower with a special ability. When struck against stone, it generates a huge crack that travels 100 feet in the direction of the blow. Reminds me of that D&D cartoon with Billy. Bobby used to hurl his club, smash it at the ground, and, you've watched it, haven't you? If not, it's got to be on YouTube. Travels 100 feet in the direction of the blow, splitting the rock neatly in two, shearing off large sections of a rock wall. It can be used to seal passages in a mine, cause an avalanche, or locate new veins of ore. The special ability functions only when wielded by a dwarf, of course. There has to be limitations. There's Shag's Battle Axe. Shag. It's a +1, bestows appropriate combat bonus to Shag. Who is Shag? During melee, but the axe is also somewhat sentient and generally in a very foul mood. I love sentient weapons. I'm gonna link to my sentient weapons thing, and then I don't have to go through my love of sentient weapons. You could just go and watch that video if that's something you want to watch. Thor's Kiss. Thorson One Thumb, the first Jarl's main defense, is a heavy, double-bladed, okay, so both sides. Or actually, a battle axe naturally has two sides, right? Would this mean four edges, like one head next to another? I don't know. That's the picture that they should have put over there. You know, the line is fine, but show me what this Thor's Kiss looks like. This weapon does not have any other extraordinary powers. Really? It's just a +1 battle axe? In that case, the number of blades really, it's not that interesting. Zzz, axe of snoring. Actually, do you say zzz, or would you say axe of snoring? Because you need to have the apostrophe S there, so axe of snoring. This is an extraordinary axe with no magical bonus unless used by a dwarf. See, it pays to be a dwarf. If a dwarf uses it to attack traditional dwarven foes, the enemy must make a save versus spell or fall sound asleep for 1d4 rounds. If a traditional enemy of the dwarves attempts to wield this axe, he or she automatically falls asleep for 1d6 rounds, no saving throw allowed. And this weapon is ineffective against other dwarves. That's good. That's another thing I like. Limited charges is one way to manage, but having things only effective or specifically ineffective against certain groups is so interesting. It keeps the power sort of under control, but yeah, it also just it adds interest. Bags. Let's move on to bags. Bag of beans. This is from the DMG. Constructed of heavy cloth, about 2 feet wide, 4 feet long. You'll find several large pebble-like objects inside. And if spilled out, they explode for 5d4 points of damage each. All creatures within a 10-foot radius must successfully save versus spell or suffer full damage. For safe removal, the beans must be taken from the bag by hand. Telekinesis won't prevent them from exploding. Trying to work them out with tools is also useless. And if planted and watered, each of the beans sprouts a creature or object. Generally holds 3d4 beans, only 1 or 2 of which are beneficial. The others sprout things like monsters or useful things. For example, and of course, why would you have a random chart here, which looks like you should roll a d8 for it, and then only have 7 entries? What happened there? It could have been a d6 with 6 entries, but no. And we couldn't eke out just one more thing for the bean. Number 4, a hole opens in the ground, a purple worm, maybe below? Or genie ring. Okay. Poison gas. A wyvern grows and instantly attacks. Oh dear. Oh, look, and there's the Bag of Beans Part 2 from Dragon Magazine. Which came first, I wonder? Oh my goodness, it's a percentage roll, I guess. 17, a pit 40 feet square and 10d10 feet deep opens beneath the bean planter. Okay. Falling damage. Well, it's not specified, but it seems like a natural occurrence. A wall of thorns springs up instantly. A well of many worlds opens in the ground. It can be picked up and carried away. Okay. 46, a huge hemispherical chunk of ground, 150 yards in radius, about the beam, rips itself free from the earth and floats away. Character standing on it may be stranded several hundred feet above the ground or carried to a foreign land. Okay, so this is probably worth reading its entirety. Someone that's made sort of like percentage-based random tables before, it's tempting to give yourself like, okay, well, 1 to 10 is this, and 11 to 20. And, so you're only coming up with 10 things. Look at this. Look at these entries. It's literally one thing. Like, there's a subtable under number 1, the toadstools. But there are literally 100 different things here, it looks like. Yeah. 93, 96, 00. Yeah. That's brilliant. Belt pouch of disappearance, bag of bones. This item usable only by priests is a small ordinary leather pouch that contains a number of tiny bones. When the bones are scattered over a 40 by 20 yard area and the word of command is spoken, a unit of skeletons immediately springs from the ground. This unit comprises 8 battle system rules figure skeletons. 80 skeletons armed with swords. It unconditionally obeys the orders of the priest, never checking morale, well, undead, and fights until totally destroyed or until the sun sets. Interesting. Okay. Hayward's Handy Haversack. A magical backpack of this sort appears, quite ordinary. 2 side pouches, each of which is large enough to hold about a quart of material, and similar to a bag of holding. Okay. When the wearer reaches into it for a specific item, that item is always on top. Thus, there's no need for digging around and fumbling to find what the haversack contains. Has any dungeon master, I can't remember of any time that I was ever asked, that it caused a delay in gaming. Because it'll take you X rounds or X turns to search through your bag for that thing, because it's small and it's probably fallen to the bottom of your bag. Okay. Kangaroo pouch. This item can hold up to 60 pounds. When placed over the stomach, armor or clothes do not interfere. It blends in and is undetectable except to detect invisible spell, true sight, or similar spells. So that's neat. How legitimate is it that in a medieval war game we would be aware of kangaroos? Well, Pictish bag of fiends. This magical device summons 10 D10 creatures from its interior. The fiends are half man, half bird with 35 hit points, are as strong as a fire giant, and will not attack anything lying flat on the ground? They are strong as a fire giant and will not attack anything lying flat on the ground. That's oddly specific. Their saving throws and attack rolls are comparable to 5th level warriors. All right. How long is this book? It's over 400. Oh. And I'm getting a wicked headache too. I'm going to put a pin in it for now. And we will pick up from this point in another video. Actually, let me know in the comments if you're even interested in me continuing to do this. Maybe this is just a one-off. Until next time.